Here on Arizona's Morning News, we have a few Friday traditions. Donuts, Detour Dan yelling.
It's Friday!
And NBC News Chief Political Analyst Chuck Todd giving us his take on the week's political happenings.
I like our traditions.
Yeah, I do
Hey,
too.
Chuck, a funny thing happened yesterday, or maybe didn't happen. The Maricopa County Board of Supervisors canvassed the 2024 general election, making the election results official, and everybody yawned. I mean, there weren't people with guns protesting outside. Nobody was inside screaming at the supervisors.
Well, are you upset about this?
No, not at all. We're grateful.
It's amazing. One of my favorite parody articles that I read was in National Review a couple weeks ago, and they're like, how come the Democrats didn't steal this election when they had the White House and they had all this stuff? How come they did the last one? And it went through this whole thing. It was a really good Jonathan Swift-like article. I highly recommend it.
Do you think that there were actually some people across the country who didn't vote for Donald Trump, never would have thought of voting for Donald Trump, but are relieved that he won the election because of this?
Oh, that's an interesting. I don't know. That's meaning they didn't vote for him, but they're just relieved that there's no.
We're not questioning this election.
We're not questioning it. I have talked to some people who say, you know what, this may be healthy long term because now we don't have to deal with this silliness again. That this will remind a whole generation that sort of bought into this that maybe it wasn't true, even if they're not ready to admit that the 2020 stuff that they were espousing was not true. That the victory will make them stop actually believing it, even if they don't say it.
We're talking to NBC News Chief Political Analyst Chuck Todd. Got to ask you about Matt Gaetz. Are you surprised he took himself out of the running to be President-elect Trump's Attorney General?
I'm not. I'm really cynical about this. I really believe this was an elaborate ruse to keep that ethics report from ever seeing the light of day. I know that I have no way of, but it all feels very. One of the things you've got to learn in the Trump era is Occam's razor, the simplest explanation, and the timing of all of this. We'll see if Matt Gaetz is running for governor in 3 months, or for that Senate seat in 3 months. We'll know maybe this was that whether he could get confirmed or not was actually not the reason to nominate him. But look, I do think Donald Trump learned the limits of his power in the U.S. Senate, that Gaetz is a bridge too far, and we're going to find out if Hegseth, the defense secretary, a nominee, that to me, or Tulsi Gabbard, what can he do? We know Gaetz was too far. Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, now we're about to find out.
Steve Roberts actually floated an idea at us earlier this week that it was part of an elaborate plan to put Matt Gaetz in that position so that, all that political will that the Republicans could muster against a Trump nominee would be wasted on him, and then the other ones would just kind of get in.
There's a little bit of that. I mean, there could be that too. I don't know if I think Hegseth and Gabbard are in for rough rides regardless of Gaetz. I really do, because think about the two committees that vet those two. They take themselves awfully seriously, right? The Intelligence Committee will be vetting Tulsi Gabbard, and you'll have the Armed Services Committee vetting Hegseth. So I certainly think that they have better chances, obviously, than Gaetz was shaping up to be. But they're going to be they're in for a tough time. They may get there, but it's going to be tough.
That meeting between Trump and Biden seemed to go pretty well. Do you see the rest of the transition going as smoothly?
What's your definition of smoothly with Trump, right? I think we're going to see a lot of this. I think we're going to see a lot of he certainly seems to be rapid fire about it. He seems to be sure of it. But there's still this whole jockeying issue that seems to frustrate the actual transition officials. They think they have a plan. They think they have something set up. And then somebody rides on a plane with Donald Trump and concocts a new idea in 2 hours, and he announces it on Truth Social. So, there's still a little bit of that, but it certainly feels like a smoother operation than 8 years ago. But I guess that's a low bar.
Yeah.
NBC News Chief Political Analyst Chuck Todd. Chuck, thank you again. We look forward to this conversation every week.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So glad you're part of one of our traditions.
They didn't make it. Yeah.
Thanks for watching Arizona's Morning News. Click to watch more from KTAR News and hit the button in the middle to subscribe.